Welcome to the DCC Museum.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the DCC Museum. Today we are in Washington, DC, and we're meeting with Kurtis Bahr. And the meeting with Kurt was arranged because Kurt donated his Panasonic DC1 car player, the one that the museum was missing for 5 years, to the museum. And the way how we found Kurt was actually quite interesting because we searched for the missing players almost daily, and in one of the listings that we found was an old listing of 2005 of a forum where Kurt mentioned his DC1 Panasonic car player and a Marantz DD82 for sale. And we decided to write him an email even though it was 14 years later because he had listed his private email, and we asked him, Kurt, do you know what happened to that player? And his answer was,
I still have it.
He still had it. And not only did he have it, but he gave us his phone number. We got to talk, and he heard the story about the DCC Museum, and he decided to donate it. And we are here today in his hometown to talk about his DCC experience and his early adoption of the format and how he got around to it. So 14 years later, after your post, you get an email from the DCC Museum. Did you know the DCC Museum existed? What was your thought process at that point?
Personally, I thought DCC was dead. I really did. I was shocked, and all of a sudden, I get this email from somebody wanting my DC1. I've been holding on to it because it really is it's a nice looking unit. Works really good, but you know, I told Ralph that, yeah, well, it probably needs some of the tensioners work, probably new belts and everything, because it actually was starting to have a couple little quirks with it at the time that I stopped using it, and I think it was just I'd used it too much. And so I get this letter, and I kind of like going, wow, somebody really wants this. I was shocked, and so I emailed back, and all of a sudden I start finding about the museum and the passion he has. And so, yeah, I was happy to give it a new home.
The connection that the DCC Museum has with you personally, I think, is the fact that what we do for DCC, you do for LaserDisc. You are as far as we're concerned, the #1 authority in the United States of actually repairing and maintaining LaserDisc players.
Yeah, the same thing that I think you're probably finding is that I'm the only one left to do this work now. Some people are kind of picking it up bit by bit, but people are not used to getting down to component level and working on products anymore. Everyone just swaps out a board or buys a new player because they're so cheap. And LaserDisc along with DCC, these are two older formats, no longer being made, parts no longer being made for these things. To keep these formats alive, it really does take a dedication and somebody with training that is not always available today. And so it really becomes, you have to have a passion for what you want. I personally started working on the LaserDisc players because I had a passion for the LaserDisc to work at its peak performance, because you basically, with DCC adjustments, LaserDisc adjustments, when they're made, they go through an assembly line, and an assembly line person adjusts in the way they're supposed to, but that doesn't mean that's really the best adjustment for each player. And that's just the way the electronics worked back when these units were made. And so many times you get something in for somebody and you fix it and you look at it and go, wow, this LaserDisc player, you're getting crosstalk in your video. Well, that's because it's older, heat, time, things have changed, and possibly even from the factory alignments, they weren't really quite right, and you're getting bleed from alternate things. In a DCC, basically your mini tracks, you'd basically be like having a bad head alignment and getting a little bleed from an adjacent track, and that would totally mess up your sound. It's the same thing with LaserDisc. You getting artifacts in the data, and I would go in and adjust in the players and get all that out, return the players, and people would go, wow. And so basically you build up a reputation, and the same reputation I'm hoping Ralph and his team will get, because they do deserve it with the work that they do for DCC, and it's really something that you can't just pick up and learn. It takes a dedication, it takes a team to understand. To me, the fact that new music is coming out is just, I'm just totally, I mean, that to me, that's the thing that's going to regenerate it. In the LaserDisc format, there's so many people saying, will somebody make a new player? Will somebody put movies out again? The answer to that is no. It's not going to happen there. But with DCC, it's happening.
Can you remember your first experience hearing about DCC or buying it or wanting it?
Well, I remember reading about it because Philips always fascinated me, because to me, Philips is a company with a lot of great inventions. I've always been amazed by their engineering excellence and what they come up with in designs. And so I heard of DCC, but wanted to find out a little more. I read up about the pass system. So then one time I was in a shopping mall, and a store was selling the 130. And that was really my introduction to it, was the 130. And so I bought it, and it came with the sampler tape in it, totally DCC. And I was very happy and amazed with the quality of the sound of those songs on there. I had always searched, being an audiophile, I've always searched for pure, clean, open sound. That's why in my own personal collection, I mainly made copies using cassette, and specifically Nakamichi cassette decks for that reason. And I found this, listened to it, and said, this really does seem to work. Any skepticism I had about the pass system went away with that. It had a lot of very convenient features that I'd always missed. And then it had the sound I was looking for. So I started with that. I got the 82. Then I said, well, for more of my critical listening, I thought, why not find a 92? So I searched the internet, and I found someone selling a used 92. And so then I also grabbed that unit. The DC one I bought last, and it definitely was, I bought a refurbished unit and everything. I saw it, and I said, hey, being refurbished, it was a good price. I already had a system with a cassette deck that was just a preamp head unit, which is the same thing this Panasonic is. And so I had everything. I had all the connections. All I had to do was change out my SoundStream cassette deck for the Panasonic DCC deck. And it really was kind of neat with the front door that came down. I never did pull it off for the security feature. I didn't live a place where I needed to worry about that. But the reason I stopped with DCC is because there were no more blank tapes in stores to buy. So you had to go on the internet and buy them and try to find them. I did have a little bit of a stash of some of the Panasonic tapes, which I did send those along with the player to the museum. But I just saw where it just seemed like in the U.S. there's going to be an end to this. Yeah, I guess it's just what people are finding out with LaserDisc. Young kids, all of a sudden, young kids are getting back into it. They probably didn't ever hear of it or nothing. It's the same with DCC. Yeah, it is. You just got to find the right place. But it made me very happy. I've always wanted to give that to somebody who wanted it, and it's there now.